The village of Umuofia sparkled beneath the silver light of the full moon. It was the annual moon festival, a night filled with joy, music, and laughter. Children ran through the village square, their faces aglow with excitement, while the elders told stories by the flickering flames of the bonfire. Adanne, the only daughter of King Okonkwo and Queen Nneka, stood beside her parents, her heart swelling with pride as she watched her people celebrate. Adanne wore a flowing gown of bright colors, her head crowned with beads that shimmered in the moonlight. Though she smiled, she couldn't shake the feeling of unease creeping into her chest. Something wasn't right. The air was too still, too heavy, as though the night was holding its breath. Suddenly, the peace shattered. From the dark edges of the forest, the warriors of Omojo descended upon the village. Their attack was swift and brutal. Flames erupted around them as cries of terror echoed in the air. Adanne's eyes widened in horror as her world turned upside down. The chaos was like nothing Adanne had ever known. King Okonkwo, her father, drew his sword, rallying the warriors of Umuofia to defend the village. His mighty voice cut through the panic, but it was too late. The invaders overwhelmed them. Adanne watched as her father fought bravely, his body moving like a lion in battle. But even a lion can fall. One moment he was there, strong and unyielding, and the next he was lying on the ground, lifeless. Queen Nneka screamed, but her cry was cut short as she was captured, bound, and thrown onto a wagon with the others. Adanne, frozen with shock, could only stare as her home was destroyed. The village burned, and the life she knew vanished in the flames. She was seized by the enemy, her wrists shackled in iron chains. As they dragged her away, she looked back one last time, her heart breaking as the inferno consumed Umuofia. The journey to Omojo was long and filled with dread. When they arrived, the sight of the imposing palace made Adanne's blood run cold. The palace was a fortress of shadows, its towering walls casting long, airy shapes under the moonlight. Inside, the air was thick with oppression, as though the building itself was alive with dark memories. Once a princess, Adanne was now treated as nothing more than a slave. Her royal robes were stripped away, replaced with tattered rags. Her days were spent scrubbing floors and howling water, her nights filled with exhaustion and aching muscles. But there was something strange about the palace. Whispers filled the halls, and shadows seemed to move on their own. Adanne kept her head down, but her curiosity grew. There were secrets here, secrets that might hold the key to her escape. One evening, while cleaning the deeper chambers of the palace, Adanne stumbled upon a crack in the wall, barely noticeable. Curious, she pushed against it, and to her shock, a hidden door creaked open. Inside was a room unlike any she had ever seen. The air was cold, and the walls were lined with shelves filled with scrolls, ancient and brittle with age. In the center of the room was a large stone tablet covered in strange markings. Adanne's breath caught in her throat as she approached the relics. These were not just the remains of any people, they were her ancestors. Among the artifacts, she found carvings and scrolls that told the story of her village past. Long ago, Umuofia and Umuojo were one great village, known as Njikoka. But the peace had been shattered by betrayal. Through the carvings and texts, Adanne uncovered the truth. Her uncle, King Ikenna of Umuofia, had been consumed by jealousy, envious of her father's rule. Ikenna had turned to dark forces for power. The secret circle, malevolent spirits of the underworld, had offered him unimaginable strength in exchange for his soul and the suffering of his people. King Ikenna, blinded by ambition, agreed, but he had underestimated the costs. The spirits brought illness and death to the land, and soon the village of Njikoka was divided. Okonkwo, Adanne's father, created a magical barrier to protect Umuofia, leaving Omojo to suffer under the curse. As Adanne read these words, a chill ran down her spine. The curse that haunted both villages wasn't natural. It was the result of the terrible bargain made by her uncle. The nights after discovering the hidden room were filled with strange dreams. Adanne saw herself standing on a mountain, bathed in light of the full moon. The moon seemed to speak to her, its glow wrapping around her like a protective cloak. She awoke from these dreams with a growing realization. She wasn't just a princess. She was something more. The visions revealed her true identity. She was the reincarnation of the moon goddess, destined to break the curse and restore balance to the land. At first, the weight of this revelation was too much to bear. How could she, a captive princess, take on such a monumental task? But as the days passed, Adanne felt the power of the moon goddess awakening inside her. She knew that time was running out. She had to act. With renewed determination, Adanne began to secretly gather allies. Among the other slaves in the palace, there were those who had long hated King Ikenna's rule. She befriended them, sharing her plan to escape and return to Umuofia. Even within the palace, there were cracks in Ikenna's control. Some of his closest advisors were wary of the spirits' growing influence over him, and they too became part of Adanne's rebellion. But the palace was a dangerous place, and one wrong move could lead to their downfall. As the full moon drew closer, Adanne knew that they had only one chance to escape and to face the evil that had taken hold of her uncle. The night of the full moon arrived, the sky aglow with silver light. It was now or never. Adanne and her allies made their move, slipping through the shadows of the palace. But before they could flee, they were discovered. Chaos erupted as King Ikenna's guard descended upon them. Adanne, heart pounding, found herself standing face to face with her uncle. His eyes were filled with madness, the dark spirits swirling around him like a storm. In that moment, the power of the moon goddess surged within her. Light burst from her body, and she challenged the spirits, knowing that the fate of her people rested on her shoulders. The battle was fierce, but Adanne soon realized that the curse could not be broken through the strength alone. The spirits demanded a sacrifice, her life, for the lives of her people. With tears in her eyes, Adanne accepted her fate. She gave herself to the spirits, her body glowing with the pure light of the moon. As the curse lifted, King Ikenna collapsed, freed from the spirit's control. But as her people rejoiced, Adanne began to fade, her physical form dissolving into the night. The morning sun rose over a united village. The curse had been broken, and the villages of Umuofia and Umuojo were one again, Njikoka, restored to its former glory. King Ikenna, now humbled and repentant, vowed to lead with wisdom. The villagers honored Adanne's sacrifice, building a shrine in her memory. Though she was gone, her spirit remained, watching over them as the moon goddess, forever guiding them with her light. And so, under the eternal glow of the moon, peace returned to the land, and the legacy of Princess Adanne lived on.